guys, and welcome back to Podghost. Today's episode is something that we are just so excited about. It's something that we thought would happen later on in the journey, but God's great, and we are joined by an absolute icon.
Legend in the game.
An absolute legend. The word legend isn't just being used here, it's actually
he's literally
a living legend. 4-time unified champion of the world, recently inducted to the Hall of Fame and fully deserved it. Cool. Mr. Roy Jones Jr.
Thank you,
Roy,
brother.
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm good.
No, we appreciate the time that you've taken out to come, man. We understand you're very busy, obviously.
Always very busy.
But we appreciate it, honestly.
Thank you.
Even now, we just saw you really, really busy. You got a whole crew of people outside, and just for you to give us that time, it shows you're so humble and just such an amazing guy in general, man.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Roy, we want to go, we don't have much time, so we want to go back into the whole side of your early years of boxing, right? What made you go into boxing? Was it something that your family put into you, or was it something that you always wanted to, you just liked the whole side of fighting and being technical? Because with you, it's always about IQ and
speed and
the whole technical side was always something.
To be honest, it was neither of those things. What happened with me was I was a born agitator. So I got on people's nerves all the time. That was just my thing.
No, of course, yeah.
As a kid, as a baby, I loved to aggravate people. So from probably about 2 to about 4 or 5, I was constantly always aggravating people. Like literally, if something bad happened in the house, in my grandmother's house with my aunts and uncles, anything bad happened, the next day, I was going to talk about it all day. I was going to aggravate you about it all day long.
Yeah.
So
bug you.
I had that in me naturally. So my father was into boxing. I didn't know. So once, I think probably 74, he was watching Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier. Wow. And I was watching the fight, and my father was really intrigued and really into it. So as I was watching, I was like, what he's doing is aggravating him, making him mad. He want to kill him, but he can't because he's not mad. He's enjoying the fact that he's aggravating him.
Yeah, of course.
I said, you know what? If somebody teach me how to use my hands, I can do that.
Wow.
And my father loves it so much. And, as a kid, your father's your first idol.
Of course.
So I was like, he loves it that much, I can do that if somebody teach me how to punch. So that's what got me into boxing. Muhammad Ali.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and that's a mad story. I never thought that would happen.
Yeah.
Because normally people get put into it through family or through the... So, Roy, now moving on, from learning how to box and getting into it, we want you to cast your mind back on your debut. Were you nervous? Was it something like you were like, sleepless nights and stuff?
I was very nervous in my debut. I was nervous because I didn't want to let people down. My life was built upon not wanting to let people down. And to tell you the truth about that, my first national tournament, the year before, my father took me to the regional tournament, and I lost by disqualification because I didn't make weight. And I was 14 years old. Never knew how to make weight, never knew how to cut weight that quick.
Of course.
And I was growing. And I didn't know it was about a month and a half between the district and the regional tournament. So I got bigger. Then my father got me there late. So they only gave me a half an hour or so to lose 2 pounds.
Wow.
I don't know how to lose 2 pounds in half an hour. I never did, and even in an hour. I never did it before. But that really stuck with me because it made me understand that those people really were let down because I wasn't representing them.
Of course, yeah.
And for them to want me to represent them means they must think a lot of me because they're really hurt that I'm not representing them. That was the first time I learned responsibility. Yeah. So I went back home, and on the track that Monday when I got ready to go jogging, I vowed to myself that was my last time ever depending on my dad to do anything for me. I got it from here because those people, they were hurt, but they really weren't let down by the fact that my dad got me there late. They were let down by the fact that I couldn't represent them. And I'll never let that happen again. Never even knew what a national tournament was. This was the regionals. The next year I came back, I won the district, I won the regional, and I won the national.
Wow.
Because I wanted to make up to those people what I did the year before.
Of course.
Because even though the year before I wasn't aware at the time that was happening, what was going on, but God made me understand a sense of who I am and that I have to become responsible for myself. So at that point, I became responsible for myself. And I said, that's it. Nobody else beat me no more. That's it.
I mean, boxing
I'm
obviously
becoming the man.
molded you into this man that you've become now. It's taught you a lot as well.
Of course.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. Boxing is one of the most parallel sports to life that you'll ever get. You know, how many times you hear people say in life, you might get knocked down, but you must get back up.
Of course, yeah.
That's boxing.
Yeah.
So true. I've never seen it like that.
Yeah,
I've
of course.
Boxing.
It's even speaking to you, the way you are, even off camera, you're so like into your. It's like everything's based around boxing. Even the way you talk, your morals, the way you. It's like everything's
Carry yourself.
Yeah, everything's
Yeah.
reference to boxing, and that was very intriguing for me to listen to. You know, the way you.
That was my tool that God used to play his instrument through. Boxing.
I remember him saying it the other day as well, innit? It's like, if God's given me a gift, then why wouldn't I use it? I mean, there's you know, you've been called Captain Hook for a reason.
And Superman.
Oh yeah, and Superman.
Got a lot of nicknames.
Oh, honestly, yeah.
Well, you know, even now, even into your career, I remember I read something where you won your first 16 fights with KOs, and when the next fight went to a points decision, was that something? Did you feel like a form of your invincibility had gone?
Like,
where you
went
knocked
the
everyone
distance,
out,
innit?
yeah.
Yeah.
And you feel like? Did you feel a certain way?
No, I didn't feel a certain way because first the guy that I fought that went the distance was a really, really good fighter. And you couldn't take that away from him. He was also a guy that if you tried to knock him out, he probably was going to knock you out. So to me, it was a change. It was a time to where you had to grow up and understand that you're not going to take everybody out. But you better be careful. And you still got to win without trying to take him out. So you got to use your IQ to outdo this guy who has way more experience than you. You understand me?
Of course.
Who's knocked out some really good fighters.
Of course, yeah.
So you better be on your A game. And I was so much on my A game that I really wasn't concerned with the knockout. I just wanted to make sure I won and in huge fashion like I always did. When I was coming up, people different now, but I wanted to be the absolute best at all costs. I don't care about money. I want to be the man. If it was a person in my weight class or close to my weight class that they thought could beat me, I need to see him now.
That's
Understand
the
me?
mentality
And
of
that's
that.
why I had to get away from my father, because first time I was offered to fight James Toney, my father said no. And I do understand that you're my coach and you trying to look out for what's best for me.
Of course.
But when this fire is in me, I got to go when the fire is hot.
Of course,
If I let that fire die, I may not win. And God showed me that example too. I know I talk about God a lot, but God has been my everything.
Of course,
God has
yeah.
showed me everything throughout my life. I watched as a kid Howard Davis Jr. win the most outstanding boxer at the Olympics, just like I did, above Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah.
But his dad suppressed him. And by the time he got old enough or ready, his dad thought he was ready to fight Jim Watt, who was from the UK.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah.
yeah.
Jim Watt beat him. No way Jim Watt should ever beat Howard Davis Jr. He was too talented, too fast, too good. But when your dad suppresses you, the real mannerism of you can't come out.
Can't come out, yeah, of
Why?
course.
Because you're your dad's son. So you can't do certain things or it's looked upon as disrespectful to your dad. So unless you leave your dad,
Of course.
you're going to always be daddy's little boy. And daddy's little boy is very difficult for that kid, especially if you got an overbearing dad, to become a world champion. And I figured that out watching Howard Davis Jr. So I knew when my time came, I was going to have to leave my dad because I'm a lion. And when a lion leaves his house, it's over. He becomes a man. He got to go out there on his own and figure out how to get his own pride and how to become a man. He can't go back home no more. There's no calling dad and say, Daddy, how I do this, Dad, how. No. Dad teaches him, so when he gets old enough, now he got to get out of here.
That's the
the
perfect
real world.
That's the perfect example of you don't only learn from your own mistakes, you learn from other people's mistakes and experiences as well.
Of course.
You know, it's sometimes like Roy has just said, that by seeing someone else being suppressed, he learned it and put it into his own situation.
And it was funny because God showed it to me in a way that I wouldn't understand why I liked Howard Davis so much. But then I realized it wasn't about his boxing. God was teaching me something completely different,
Yeah, of course.
you know? So
Yeah, so when you felt like you left your dad, did you know where you was going, or was it just something like you just felt like you need to leave and move on to anyone?
I knew where I had to go.
You know where you had to go, yeah.
And what I always prayed for was that I had enough in my mind, enough in my toolbox when I left that I could manage on my own. So I would always ask God to show me when it was time to go, but not let me leave too early. And I always, once again, I always relate, not just boxing, I relate sports to life. We had a strike.
Yep.
Then we had a strike 2. Then we had a strike 3. If I don't leave now, something bad gonna happen. And I may not get to be who God has intended for me to be. So I had to leave right there after strike 3.
Wow,
And
that's
what
deep, innit?
people don't understand is that I was so far ahead of this game that in 1988 at the Olympics, I had one coach that I could really deal with. I told that coach, I said, hey, give me your number and you take my number because one day I'm going to need you. And he had no clue what I was talking about. I said, okay. He said, okay. So we swapped numbers, Coach Alton Murkison. In 1992, when the third strike came, I called him on a Tuesday or Wednesday. I was fighting that following Friday. I said, hey, you remember I told you one day I was going to need you? He said, yeah. I said, well, that day is here.
Wow.
He said, okay, what I need to do? I said, can you come down this weekend? He was like, yeah. What you need me to do? Would you need sparring? I said, no, I'm fighting this weekend. He said, you in shape? You need training? What you need? I said, all that's done. You just show up. I just need you to show up and work the corner. He said, okay. And he came. And from that point forward, he became my head coach.
You know, even just
what a
that
story.
story, yeah, it just goes to show how the
That's
era has
amazing.
changed, didn't it? Like nowadays, they'll never be able to turn up by themselves.
Talking
and
of
stuff.
nowadays, do you think boxing has changed for the good or the worse?
Skill-wise, it's changed for the worse.
I agree.
Business has changed for the good because people like Jake Paul has come in and shown you that if you can master social media, you can become a multimillionaire in boxing. But he also shows you that because of the skill level, you don't have to be as good to make your way in boxing either. You understand me? Because the skill level has decreased, but the social media level has made it big still. So you ain't got to be as good today as you did back then, but you can make way more money if you go about it the social media way correctly.
Definitely.
So do you support the YouTube boxing stuff? Is that something you approve of, or is it something that you think? My personal view on it is, I think it's kind of taken away the polish of the sport of boxing. If you ask me, I just think it's more for the skilled people. Nowadays, if you talk to any YouTuber, they all want to start boxing now. They don't understand how dangerous boxing is. Boxing isn't a game. I've done it for charity, and honestly, I broke my rib. And I was fighting a guy that's never fought before.
Right.
And
Yeah,
from there,
exactly.
I've never stepped foot in the ring again because I thought I could have got hurt today.
Of course,
So
yeah.
that's my take on YouTube.
Once again, it ain't for all YouTubers because if you're going to box, it is serious.
Of course it is.
And you have to do it like Jake Paul is doing it. You have to pursue it for real if you're going to do it. And you got to be careful about who you pick to fight. Floyd showed you how to do that. So between Floyd and Jake Paul, if you take their two diagrams, in today's time, you can make a lot of money without being the best boxer.
Definitely.
And you can talk about and say you're the best, but you don't really have to be the best. Because in my time, to be the best, you got to beat the best.
Yeah.
And that don't mean you can fight Pacquiao after he get knocked out. You got to fight Pacquiao before he gets knocked out, when he's at the top of his game and you're at the top of your game.
No
That's
excuses.
the
Yeah, no
truth.
excuses, yeah.
You understand where I'm coming from? That's just what it is. You can't do that. I would not be able to take credit for beating Pacquiao after he got knocked out by Marquez because that's not the same Pacquiao.
Of course.
That's not the Pacquiao at the top of his game.
Yeah, of course.
But in society today, we'll call that person the best fighter ever
Of course.
when that's not how that goes. That's not reality. But in the business world, it is because look how much money he made doing it. So it makes it look like it's true, but nowadays, we sell our souls for money. We rather be the money maker and say we're the best than to actually go skill for skill and be the best or put in the hard work it takes to be the best skill for skill. So the YouTubers, the ones like Jake Paul who take boxing serious, he really is showing you that in today's society, you don't need a promoter. You don't need much of nothing. You can take your own world, grow that social media name, and you can make it yourself. You don't need many people like we did back in the old days when there was no social media. Back in the old days when the promoters had the TV networks locked up in their back pockets, you got to go through the promoter to get to the TV network to be seen so that people know who you are. Now you don't have to do that no more. you get seen more on social media than you do on regular TV now.
Yeah.
So you can make it all come together and make a hell of a blast. So I'm not for the social media boxing because it does diminish the technique part of it.
That's it.
But I am for the social media knowledge because it does bring out who you really are, let people really see you if you're really good in boxing. So a great boxer like Chocolatito was what's his last name? Chocolatito, whatever his last name, I forget it right now, but he was a really good boxer who I heard about for a long time.
Right.
But the thing about Chocolatito was the public eye couldn't see him because he wasn't in this country, in the United States of America. He wasn't in a country that was high on boxing, so nobody knew who he really was.
That's where social media takes its play.
You feel me? So,
yeah, of course.
So if he had a social media presence, he would be even bigger than he is right now because he was a killer. But he was at a small weight class, 112. So nobody really knew him. And he was probably from Nicaragua or something like that, so nobody really knew him.
It's a bit like Ryan Garcia, who made a lot of his name from the social media world.
Yeah. So now his name is huge.
Yeah.
So if he fights Tank or anybody because of social media, his name is huge. Exactly. No matter how good or how bad he is, his name is huge now. And he's a pretty good boxer on top of it. Mm-hmm. So it works. That's how you put the two together. He's a perfect example.
Yeah. But even with YouTube, it's like the amount of effort that they go in for the training and stuff like that as well. Like even people like Jake Paul, Logan Paul.
Of course.
Put in a lot of effort. You know, before you'd think like how you said, YouTubers, they're just jumping into boxing, and you do see a lot of that as well. But when I've seen their Instagrams and how they train and stuff like that, it is
like I said, he's taking it serious.
He's taking it serious.
Yeah, if you take it serious, it's a different thing. He's taking what he get now, and we don't expect him to get but so good because he started late.
Of course.
But the fact that he's taking it serious, I don't mind what he's doing because he is taking it serious. Now, would a real boxer finally catch up with him and beat him one day? Probably if he keep fighting real boxers, because they've been boxing. A lot of those guys have been boxing their whole life.
Of course.
He's not. So, of course, he's going to have a disadvantage in that. But look how much money he's going to make before that. Look how much money he's making these guys. Hakeem Rockman Jr. wasn't going to make no $500,000 fighting nobody else.
Agreed.
He was about to make $500,000 fighting with him. Amanda Serrano couldn't hardly get a payday. He got her $1 million to fight Katie Taylor. First time two women ever made $1 million.
That's mental.
A YouTuber. How can you hate this guy? Or how can you not like what this guy's doing? Now, everybody ain't the same.
He's playing the game.
Most of them not, but this guy's not only helping himself, but he's also helping the sport of boxing. Because, like I said, Rockman wasn't going to make that kind of money. Serrano nor Taylor had made that kind of money yet. And it was one of the best damn female or male fights you ever want to see. Yeah. That was a good damn fight. I don't care what nobody say.
Yeah.
That was a good damn fight. You feel me? If they did it again, I'd pay whatever they wanted to watch it again. You understand? Because it was action-packed. You understand me? It was action-packed.
He brings a new audience in as well.
Exactly.
I mean, especially if he's making that much noise, he chills with sometimes the likes of like Mike Tyson. And you've got people like Andrew Tate, who's massive, Andrew Tate is calling people out like Jake Paul. And for him to even pop up on their radar, it just goes to show the level that they're at.
Bro, talking of Mike Tyson, obviously you had your rumble with him recently. How did you find that experience? And me personally, when I was watching, I thought this guy could flip at any time. And I thought Mike, but it was such a great thing to see two greats go
Legends,
at it and still be able to get the crowd and everyone talking about it.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought he could flip it any time, but I was in shape so I could flip too if he had flipped. So we both could flip it any time. But,
of course.
I understood it, and I understood that we just wanted to do a good thing for the public. We was right at the backside of the pandemic. People had nothing to watch, nothing to do. I knew we were going to get screwed over as far as the pay-per-view and all went eventually, but it was more about doing it for the people because people had nothing to do at that time. And what bigger names could you get in front of each other than Roy Jones and Mike Tyson?
Oh, of course, 100%.
And to get us to know that, hey, don't go out there act stupid. Go out there and get the people a show. Let them see what they want to see. Let them see so they can make up their own minds of how this would have gone in y'all's prime. Give them a little bit of enough action that they're happy with it, but don't go out there and lose your mind. You're both above 50 right now. You understand
absolutely.
Me? So to be able to compose ourselves, to get ourselves in enough shape to go to 8 rounds, those 2 minutes we still with 8 rounds, and to not go out there and act idiotic like we two young guys who trying to prove the world that we the best. That was the biggest thing.
Oh, I was going to say that, to get into shape.
To have discipline. But to go that hard and get in shape at that age, but to have discipline enough to control ourselves for the 8 round period, was big.
That was remarkable at that age. Even just to be so fit as well, you both were really going at it.
And that shows you that we have to be masters of our sport.
Which you
Because
are,
we know how to handle it and not go out there and be ignorant and do stupid things, you know. It's like when Holyfield had the one with Vitor Belfort.
Yeah.
Belfort went out there trying to prove that, you know, I can knock out Evander Holyfield. But Evander Holyfield almost 60.
Exactly.
What does that prove, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't prove nothing.
But you hurt the situation because there were other guys that could have made good money because of what Jake Paul is doing right now. There were other guys that could have did these exhibitions and made good money for themselves, probably more money than they would have made in their primes. You understand?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But you messed it up because you went out there trying to prove that you were better than him at 60. You think we really care if you're better than him at 60? You understand me?
Agreed, 100%.
And it made it look bad. So I hate when people get it mixed up and do it the wrong way because at some point you got to grow up and let the ego be gone. If you're going to do something so spectacular, do it in your prime. If you're out of your prime, let the ego go. Just have a good time, give the people something what they want to see. Become an entertainer. And it's not hard for me because I was an entertainer even in my prime.
Yeah, of course.
So it makes it easy for me. Mike was an entertainer even in his prime. Makes it easy for us. But everybody wasn't the entertainer. So everybody don't understand what it takes to entertain. You understand me? So unless you can be an entertainer, you shouldn't be doing it.
100% agreed. And Roy, before we obviously wrap up, just a quick word on, I know you're working with Chris Eubank Jr. What do you think of his chances of moving on to, they are talking quite heavily about him having a big fight here with Conor Benn. Is that something that you would like to see? And if so, obviously, being his trainer, how do you see it going?
Well, to be honest
if they ever have a fight.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, Chris is a very unique individual. I say that to say that he has a lot of things that people don't understand about him, and he's been misunderstood pretty badly in this country, I think.
Yeah.
But Chris Eubank really, if you really ask me, he's not afraid to fight nobody. Whether it's Conor Benn, whether it's Triple G, it's just a matter of him feeling like he's getting slighted or him feeling like he's getting a fair shake. He's big on that. He's really big on that. So it's like people don't understand that even with the Billy Joe Saunders fight, he went through so many things, so many tragic things that were uncharacteristic for him that it put a bad pimple on him,
Yeah.
And he's like, for me, in his mind, he don't need Billy Joe. But Billy Joe needs him now. Because who else would people pay to see Billy Joe fight? So now Chris has the upper hand. So he's like, why am I even entertaining it? When the way you guys treated me when we fought the first time, you know what y'all did.
Yeah.
What y'all did really wasn't right. So why would I come back and fight y'all again when y'all on your dying bed and need breath? Why would I come breathe that breath into you?
Yep.
Agreed. Yeah.
That's how he sees it. You feel me? I think. As far as Conor Benn goes, Conor Benn is a 140 pounder moving up to 155, whatever they do.
Yeah, moving up, yeah.
It's good. And Conor, I knew why Conor wanted to fight Chris right away. I knew it because of the namesake, but I know what mistake he sees in Chris that he thinks he can capitalize off of. And quite naturally, me being Chris trainer, no, we're going to fix that mistake. That mistake that he thinks is there, that won't be there come fight night if I'm training. You understand me? Because I already know what you see. I see what you see because I'm a fighter first.
Yeah.
So I know why you chose and why you want to fight because I know what you see. It won't be there come fight night. And with that being said, it's going to be hard for him to beat Chris Eubank because Chris Eubank is first bigger, he's faster, he hits harder, he's had more experience in really big fights. I don't see how you're going to beat Chris Eubank Jr. I mean, I do applaud you for coming up and taking that challenge.
Of course.
And to me, it's a smart thing for you to do because your father and his father had some of the biggest fights
ever, yeah.
Legendary in the UK.
Yeah, you understand me? So why would I not want to take that namesake and let's bank off of it?
Of course.
Benn versus Eubank again, why not?
Yeah, exactly.
You understand me? It's the best thing to happen. Now, to show you where I go, this is the promoter side of Roy. Roy is so brilliant when it comes to promotional that people don't understand because they don't listen to my mind. I first said before Amir Khan fought Kell Brook, we should fight Kell Brook. But some of the team didn't want to fight Kell Brook because they said it was too easy. But it gave me a chance to see him work on the things that I'm teaching him. That's why I was asking for the Kell Brook fight. They said no. Well, Amir Khan would have made the Kell Brook money, and Kell Brook retired. Missed that option, right? I said that whoever's doing the promotion, if you're smart, you put Harlem Eubank in against Benn first because they're the same weight class, right?
Yeah.
It's still Benn Eubank, but if Harlem beats him and it's a good fight, you do it again. If he beats Harlem, now he can say, okay, I beat the little Eubank, I want the big one.
I want the main one.
You feel me? Now we getting 2 or 3 fights out of the Benn Eubank namesake.
Yep.
You understand where I'm coming from?
Yep.
Instead of 1. Because in 1, I just feel like if Chris gets in his rhythm and gets what he wants to, it's gonna be hard for Eubank to really beat Chris. And it's gonna be to a point where I don't think people really would want to see it again if it's a dominating situation. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I was just trying to fish for ways to get the most usage out of the names than to just go right to the bread and butter.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Roy, look, obviously you've been here, you've had your time. Thank you so much for sharing your amazing knowledge with us. It really means a lot.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed that amazing podcast with a living legend, Roy Jones. Even now, I'm getting goosebumps saying it.
Actually, him being in our presence, we never thought this was gonna happen. It's amazing. Honestly, we appreciate the time as well, man.
And all I'm gonna tell y'all is go out there. I got a song out called "Do It Big" by the Headbangers, Roy Jones. And I got another called "Y'all Must Have Forgot Part 2."
Oh,
download
Must Have
those.
Forgot.
What y'all
I love that tune, Roy.
Hey, and I did that verse
of
"Y'all Must Have Forgot Part 2."
Yeah.
That's how I ended my Hall of Fame speech.
Wow.
That was hot.
Oh yeah, I actually saw that. Do you think we can get a little snippet? And guys, we just want to show you a little clip.
A little behind the scenes.
A little behind the scenes, yeah.
Of Roy doing what he does best. Entertaining you guys. He's been doing it for decades and he's still carrying on now. Show me another guy that can do it like this.
Exactly. And this is definitely one of my favourite tunes as well.
Let's go.
Roy, take it away.
Take it away, my man.
It's like I told him at the Hall of Fame, I said, I came in here entertaining y'all, and I'm going to leave out of here entertaining y'all. So I went like this. The last of my kind by far, so I gotta leave my mark. Got a highlight tape that's unreal, with the greatest knockouts you ever saw. Now let's break it down, go to the stats. Bet you never find another fighter that match. 4 different divisions, tell them top that. Future Hall of Famer, well I just got that. See y'all must have forgot, so I'ma go hard. You scared of the dogs, don't step in the yard. Getting in the ring is the only way to ball. You can't rise up if you're worried about the fall. I'm blind to the facts, mind on attack. Make one mistake, counter punch, I react. Straight from the south, that's the bottom of the map. Body headbangers every time I'm on the track. See, I'ma bring it back to when I had things popping. Hit after hit, and it wasn't no stopping. Couple people hate it, couple people doubt it. Fact of the matter is, Roy's still a topic.
Jeez.
Yeah, I still got it. No need to explain. They thought I fell off, but I'm back in the game. 30 years later, and I still ain't changed. Roy Jones Jr. Remember that name? Y'all must have forgot.
Y'all must have forgot. Hey, Roy. That was sick. Come on.
Y'all must have forgot. Just remember that, guys.
Remember this name. Yeah. I don't think they'll ever forget it.
They better not.
Exactly.
So yes, guys, I hope you liked what you saw. Hopefully, moving on, we'll be bringing a lot more guests on. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and keep showing us the love you're showing us.
And make sure you hit the bell notification so you don't miss none of our uploads.
Thank you very much, and peace out. Thank you.